So yeah, I'm a designer from Brisbane, Australia. I've been living and working in Berlin for the past 4 years, and I'm lucky enough to work on the brand and creative team at Blinkist as a marketing designer. Joining us today for our talk is the wonderful designer and creative Kay. Hi, Kay. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Grace. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to talk to you and to have this group of people.
Me too. So let's jump right in. Can you please tell us a bit about your background, where you grew up, where you live now, and where you studied?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm originally from Belgrade, Serbia, where in I guess kind of mid 2000s, I moved to Italy, to a city next to Venice, and I started studying graphic design. That was kind of like a big change for me. Different city, different everything. I also was really just interested in design before that, but then I really started like learning everything about graphic design and typography and illustration and photography, everything we kind of use daily right now. And there I was working a lot in one branding agency. So I stayed in Italy around 7 years, and it was really like an amazing experience. And I kept kind of always kept having personal projects. I did a lot of design for my music artist friends. I was doing like record covers, posters, all these kind of things that one does, right?
That's so much fun.
Yeah, when you start off and like being able to see your designs on like a vinyl record and things like this, that was really exciting to me. And then at the same time worked on just normal, business clients. And then 6 years ago, I think I moved to Berlin to join this company called Delivery Hero, where I had the fortune to work with you as well, and a team of really cool people. And that was kind of my, kind of new kind of cultural shock to like how to work in a tech company, how to work with a bunch of other people and not just in a small design studio. Work with like international brands and things like this. And still I kind of kept doing my personal projects, and I had a lot of really cool experiences with freelance work. So I did some cool stuff from like Adobe to like Fendi to Pinterest. And it was fun because it was so different from what I was doing and what we were doing at this like the full-time job.
The corporate world.
Exactly. And then I'm still based in Berlin. But I joined a company called Superside, which is like a global digital agency that's completely remote and distributed. So I basically live everywhere at this point. I'm currently in Barcelona. I've been traveling quite a lot, and that I mean everybody here can probably attest to that. And the pandemic has made a lot of things more difficult, but our lives have been better since. The ability to like be flexible with time, to be everywhere, to be able to just I know some people also in this group like have been working from the beach. You can work from anywhere you want, and that's amazing. And I keep doing some personal projects, because I think for me, like design, I guess it's a job, but it's also a passion. And I'm laughing because it sounds kind of cringy, but it's true. I would definitely want to do it even if I had $1 million.
I can totally relate to that sort of that feeling, like that restless feeling in your downtime when you've been creative in your work, but then you also feel this like desire to be creative at home as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I had this, I think most of the times when I interview people are like, so what do you like to do in your free time? And I'm like, design.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I guess having this sort of fully flexible workplace now, or fully remote workplace now, would give you so much flexibility as well with your personal projects, and sort of being able to manage your time more independently as well.
Absolutely. We're going to go deeper into that a bit later, but I definitely can say that it has made everything more easy and more flexible and almost kind of more encompassing, because there's not such a big delineation between like me going to a specific office and doing specific things on a specific computer, but you're just literally merging the two all the time.
So much more contemporary way to work.
Absolutely.
So can you walk us through some what makes up your work at the moment? What some of your projects that you have for clients versus your personal projects?
Yeah, I mean, it was as I was saying before, I think my whole, I guess now 13 years of experience as a designer has been always kind of signed by personal, and then kind of this freelance, but still for clients, and then the full-time job. So yeah, when I was working with you as well at Delivery Hero, we were doing a lot of branding. So a lot of it was really kind of doing big rebranding projects. And I think that was really cool in the sense that it really encompassed everything from like strategy to graphic design, but also kind of every aspect of design, because you need to be knowledgeable in motion and in video and in campaign and every single part, because right, like branding is like this. And then at Blinkist, I also think what was interesting is that we were able to kind of again work really closely with product, but also with content, and work a lot with people who actually make the content and write the books and do the podcasts. And that was also something I think could learn from a lot. But yeah, but then I have also a lot of projects where like I consult, or I've done kind of rebrandings for tech companies. Or sometimes it's, like content pieces for, like, for example, right now I'm working with Wix on their blog, or there is going to be like an editorial campaign for Adobe because they're doing like a big campaign, 50 years of Ziggy Stardust, the album. So
Wow.
I created like a set of assets for them. So they're going to use now, like I think in May, they're going to have around like 30 people using the assets to create work. And then they're going to kind of create a lot of videos and content around that. So
That's going to be amazing.
yeah, it's kind of like really varied, which I really love. And I also right now love the fact that at Superside, we have all sorts of clients. There's like more, let's say, old school, like health tech companies, but there's also young startups. There is literally everything, every sort of design you could be doing. And I really love that. I think, yeah, I think naturally as designers, we are curious and you kind of want to do a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, it's really nice to have a lot of variety sort of in your work as well, as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen this with Blinkist as well. I think even if you work for just one brand, there's also still a lot to be done there.
Totally, all across the channels and everything as well. It's always a different challenge. And I just have a question that just popped into my head with, in terms of your sort of freelance clients, do they sort of approach you directly, or do you sort of seek out that kind of work?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm not completely insane, I don't seek out these kind of things because I don't have time. But yeah, usually they do. I mean, I think what really works for me well is that I do my personal projects and things I would like to be doing. And I tend to post a lot of content on my Instagram. Some, like before, it was also a lot of Behance, and then people find me through that. So mostly people will find me through Behance or Instagram. Because they've seen something else I've done. So it's kind of like that. That's the marketing that kind of brings people in.
Yeah, true. So you have a very strong, solid, like personal brand as well. So that's very like appealing for people.
Yeah. I find this to be really cool because it allows you to just do what you like, because people who ask me to do something usually want that, right? Like they're asking for that style, the specific thing that you know how to do, and they just want you to do it again, which is, I think, really like a good place to be in.
Yeah, it's like a great strategy, because then you'll do work that you want to do, and then also you're sort of created kind of a style that is very independent to you, so you'll make yourself a product in a way as well.
It's true, but it also means that they, like I'm going to be, let's say, asked by Adobe to do specific things, not everything, because they will constantly change style. So if they need something like this, then it makes sense, but if not, you kind of put yourself in a niche and that's it. You kind of only do that. Whereas I think what is cool and why I still like to have like a full-time job is that we're obviously able to do much more. so you're able to kind of go outside of your lane without losing the personal brand, or however you want to call it.
Yeah, I guess you don't want to do sort of you don't want to flog it like too much. You want to still like get a lot of joy and sort of have energy for those kind of personal projects as well, or those more kind of like quote unquote fun projects.
Yeah, that's what I think that's an interesting point. I mean, I'm curious, like for everybody, like, do you ever like get a bit out of creativity? Like, do you ever like lose it and you're just like, I cannot move a pixel anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess for me, it depends on, I guess, yeah, sometimes. I guess it just, yeah, it's sort of these ebbs and flows. But I think if everybody was trying to get you to sort of recreate your style like all the time, 24/7, I think that maybe could get exhausting. But I don't know. Maybe there are people who have lots of energy for that as well.
It's true. But I mean, I found this I mean, all the years I've been working, I definitely kept evolving the style. So it's not like I'm constantly doing
Yes.
something, because also everything changes, and yeah, I mean, other people change as well. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. And the big question I guess I have next is, how do you manage to do both your personal projects, client projects, and full-time work as well? Like, how do you find the balance there?
Yeah, I was joking last evening with Eva, who's also here now. When you're going to be asking me this question, I'll probably just say I can't. It's so hard. But no, I think so. First of all, I think what has worked really well for me is to find a format to really come up with like a content format that works and that people like and that I know how to replicate easily. So all of the stuff that I post on Instagram and that has currently been my personal project is quite, I don't want to make it sound too easy. It's not like it takes me 1 hour, it takes me more, but it's kind of simple once I find the right, like, content I want to, or like the right topic, the right sentence, the right something, it kind of goes quite quickly. And then also I gave myself a few, let's say, kind of dates and KPIs and things like this. Like I would say, I will do something in this month. I don't have a lot of time. I'll just do 2 this month. Or sometimes I've done 1 every 5 days. And it kind of gets you into the mood. I don't know, it reminds me, these, I mean, this well, all the people who do the how many days of type? 30,
Oh
40,
yes.
28, 20 days. I'm like on record. I don't know how many letters
30?
are in the alphabet.
It's like letters and numbers, isn't it?
Yeah,
From
exactly.
memory.
But anyways, like it's kind of like you need to set a timeline and a number, and then you're like, okay, I'm committing to this, and it's this is what I'm doing, and I'm not going to spend 10 hours every time. I'm going to spend 2 or 3, and it's going to be just a process, and I'm just going to replicate it, because if you have to think about it as well on top of it, it's not going to be possible. But yeah, I mean, what I think is the most challenging for me is the fact that having a full-time job in this remote space, it means that you just have a lot of calls all the time. And it's really hard to find a space of these 2-3 hours. So most of the time, what I do is like work really early in the morning, on the weekends, things like this, right? Unfortunately. But as we said before, I love it, and it's not a negative thing, but it does take time and it does take some of the energy out. And I also, what really works for me is to kind of let it happen naturally when I feel like it, and not like I said that I'm going to do it on Tuesday at 7 a.m. and I have to. Sometimes it's been, it's been super natural, and that's what I love about it, because it's almost like my little meditation session, same way you would, play the piano or read a book or sew or whatever your hobby is, almost, right? With the difference that I can put this on Instagram, and like companies ask me to do it for them as well, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. And so it sounds like it's kind of like a structure, but it sort of has flexibility as well. So you sort of have goals for yourself, but you're not like super, super rigid about it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I think it would like take out all the fun out of it. But yeah, I mean, it's I think for me, what works is really making it simple, because if it was just more complicated, I would not do it, right?
Yeah.
And I have like my structure and my thing, and it's just like I don't know what to compare it with, but like it's a routine almost.
It's like you have to have a certain level of self-awareness to be able to know like what is going to work for you. And yeah, like these sort of things, like if I'm feeling energy, then I'll sort of really throw myself into it and that kind of thing, and taking advantage of those moments.
Yeah, this seems really silly. I've noticed this with music as well. But like if you're not enjoying yourself in the first 5 minutes, you shouldn't do it. You should just stop and do something else. Because it
I like
shouldn't
it.
be it shouldn't be hard. And also, yeah, I mean, I mean, maybe because I've been working in marketing for so long, but I measure a lot of things. I look at engagement, I test things out, etc. It's not completely freestyle. Like I kind of have, yeah, have a process. So it really helps.
I guess it's working for you. So
Yeah, it's working better. So yeah.
awesome. So I guess the next question I have is, what inspires your personal projects and what do you aim to achieve with them? Do you have any recurring topics or themes in your work?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, for me, obviously, as everybody use Instagram a lot. I think for me, it replaced a lot of other stuff like blogs or, I don't know what we used before, but like, I think it's a really easy way to tailor your feed to follow the right studios, designers, artists. I basically just have like a big, feed full of amazing people I like. And it's not just, I mean, here I have a few examples of really amazing designers I love, but I also follow a bunch of things like, musicians or painters, drag queens, as you know, like people who really like do amazing visual stuff. And that's all inspiration. I also generally when I was putting this together, I thought what I really like is people who like exaggerate a bit. Like I like everything that's a bit too much, too much color. I like non-legible fonts.
Loud, bright,
Yeah,
impactful,
exactly. If it's too much, I love it.
maximalism.
Maximalism. And yeah, I like colors and things that are exciting and and also very well crafted. I mean, definitely that's something that I always kind of think we take for granted, but I mean it's a very big part of what we do. And yeah, and I think what really inspires me, as I said, is the colors and the kind of basic shapes. I like the fact that you can take very simple things like primary colors, very simple words or letters, and a few shapes, and you can create a crazy amount of variations and patterns out of it. I recently done this also like free kit with Adobe. And basically you have a pattern pack and you just can put them into the project. And then because I made it, I was like, let me see what's the experience like if I'm you as a user. And it was like, okay, this is super easy. Like you literally with a few different patterns, you can create a million different things. So this is the serialization I was talking about before. I think it's really cool to just have a very simple premise, like you have a word and then you kind of stretch it out, and then I usually also take just a few colors. So if it's like more than 4, 5, it's already too much. But how you use them makes it look like there's like, oh, there's every color in the world. No, there's probably like 5, 6. And yeah, plus kind of like the composition work that takes most of the time. And yeah, I love it. I mean, it kind of goes back to the primary basics of graphic design, something they were like teaching 100 years ago as well.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me almost of this kind of, I don't know, design school, or like this kind of classic design thinking where you have these kind of like modular systems and then you sort of play with creativity within these kind of parameters, and then you get like such amazing results, even with like you have these like limitations, but they aren't really limitations. It's kind of like, yeah, it's an amazing challenge.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I was in uni, we had one class where for 3 months we only could use one font, and it
Gosh,
really helped.
what was the font? Was it Helvetica?
Yes, fortunately, yes. But it was kind of like the point was let's simplify things. Let's take out the choice and just work on the actual layouting. And I think That was really smart. And I actually do this as well. I use one font for like 6 months. And it looks, I mean, in my
You
mind,
can't tell. Yeah.
yeah, it looks different. This is what I'm saying. Like you use 4 colors and like black and white, you use one font and you use basic like squares and circles. And then you can create content for days. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, totally. Because
Because
it can be so overwhelming when you have too many options, or just like when the whole world is open, it
yeah,
sort of
but I
gets
bring it
paralyzed.
exactly. But I bring it back to music. Like it's literally like 7 notes, then like the English language, and then you have music for like millions of different songs. Um, you can create anything with simple starting material. And yeah, and then you were asking about topics as well. I mean, for me, what I really think maybe personally that are my topics are daily things I see. So like from political to social to, design kind of, events and things that happen and I feel I can contribute to in my small way. And also like topics that are important to me as a woman designer, as a person in the world, of kind of creativity, of like, topics of equality in design as well, and these kind of things. So yeah, I mean, for me, it really kind of changes all the time. But I also try to make it really intuitive and kind of quick. I don't like think about it too much as well. So yeah, because I think that's again something about the improvisational side of things that I like.
I love these. Super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it keeps your work really contemporary as well. And there's always something for people sort of coming to your page and things like that. There's something for everybody, especially with all these kind of contemporary topics.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously didn't invent this, so it's not something new. But I think what is cool is because the medium is maybe Instagram, you can react immediately. I know that it's something that I'm thinking about, and maybe other people are thinking about, and then you can just do it in 3 hours. It's out.
It's
Which
nice too. If you're not overthinking it and planning it too far in advance, it's just like get the inspiration, smash it out, put it up.
yeah, I usually don't. Yeah, if it's like from my first inspiration and first spark in my brain to Instagram, it's not going to be longer than 5 hours. If it's not working out, I just don't do it anymore.
I like to see some of your working files. I bet there's some amazing stuff in there.
Yeah, I think I will probably upload this one day on Instagram. I was laughing how my work files are like super precise, and then the files for my personal projects are a mess. Like there's literally everything from the last 5 months is in one Illustrator file, and
Oh
it's
my gosh.
super close, and you can't put anything new.
Like those terrifying Miro boards where you zoom out and it's like an entire world.
Yeah, breaking the internet. But yeah.
It's amazing. So I've got one more question, and then if anyone else has questions, please put them in the chat and we can get to those straight afterwards. But finally from me, what is one thing you would like to tell designers who are trying to balance personal and professional work, for example, a full-time job and freelancing at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who do this, and I think that's amazing. There is obviously such pros and cons to doing both. It's maybe not for everybody, but I also would first of all think you shouldn't feel bad that you also have a full-time job. Or, sometimes I hear people like, if only I could just do this. There's nothing wrong with doing multiple things. It kind of keeps you fresh. It keeps you on the edge as well. It keeps you busy, obviously. But yeah, I mean, first I was thinking 3 things. First, find a format. Like I was explaining before, I think for me it works that it's a specific content format that works for me. It makes it easy for me, and it makes it easy for the audience, right, to kind of grasp and know, and they know, like, what's going to happen next time, and in 5 days you'll get another a little quote or something. I mean, this is obviously basic, but I think what I've done in the past, and I made a mistake, is trying to do too many different things because it's fun, because I want to show that I have versatility, right? And it doesn't really work. It's better to serialize things and take it easy. I also think setting priorities is really important. Like, I also tend to like overcomplicate things or say like I want to do a million things. If I have a project for a client and I have daily work, I'm not going to be posting as well personal things on top of that, because yeah, you just need to prioritize and do something really well and not everything mediocre. um, which is not easy. I mean, I think it's all of these things seem like, oh yeah, common sense, but it's not easy when you're like in your daily life doing things. And yeah, and also I think third thing is just really important to me is getting help, which means I don't know, I think we're sometimes so hard on ourselves and want always to do things by ourselves and are always overwhelmed. I think most or 99.99% of the time when you're overwhelmed and not happy is because you're not asking enough help. It's probably goes for personal life and everything in general, but yeah, for design as well, like get help. Like maybe you're just starting out and you're like, well, I'm not going to get an intern, but try to get help with other stuff. Like try to ask for help from your partner to like give you 2 hours every day to work on this, or like other things you can get help on. And we forget this, and I love this about my work now and all of our work now is, yeah, there's people all over the world who want to connect, want to work with you. And we should take advantage of that and not always just try to do everything by ourselves, because if we don't do it, like then we're not good enough and we're imposters, right?
Yeah, I
So
think it's really, sorry, I think that's really valuable, like this idea of getting help. I think as designers as well, because a lot of our work is sort of, you work on something, I mean, you work on projects together and things like that, but like a lot of your work is sort of independent. And even though you come together, it sort of gives you this mindset that you're kind of like in it alone, or you're the only one who's like involved. So yeah, that's super valuable.
yeah, I think we tend to forget these things. I'm sure everybody can relate. There's always something you can get help with, and you're not. And you're not taking advantage. And it doesn't mean that you're going to lose any value. It's actually you're gaining value and you're connecting with somebody who's willing and happy to help. So yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. It's like this idea of, yeah, if you ask for help, then you might not be taken as seriously, or you might not, yeah, there's something, you lose value as a designer or something else, which I guess is, yeah, it's a good mindset to try and disengage from.
Yeah. I mean, I've had this issue probably, especially when I was changing roles from like more like, a designer to a design leader, is that of course you are so used to doing everything by yourself, then you're like, well, how am I now not doing anything? Am I even a designer? Will people take me seriously? Which is obviously silly. And yeah, I think this is a mindset of not delegation but collaboration, and this should go, I think, for everything and not just this specific case of design. I think in general we should be more collaborative on things and not always assign our value to like what explicitly we do. But maybe it's also cool that I inspire you to do something. It doesn't make me be less of a design.
Yes, totally. That makes me wonder, like, do you think that your energy levels have changed as you've sort of stepped into these more like managerial roles? Like your energy levels, like for design, do you think or do you think it's sort of stayed the same? Like you've always sort of put the same energy into your personal projects and stuff like that, or has having that kind of like creative element taken away a little bit when you're sort of more of the supervisory role? Does that give you more energy for side projects, or?
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, I think that's very insightful, and I probably agree. I think it's, yeah, I definitely. Well, what I think is that, yeah, when I think you have more time to think, that it's easier to do smarter work. I also think that my managerial, let's say, training has taught me to be a manager of myself, so to kind of do things a bit more quickly or a bit more smart. like as I was saying before, I 5 years ago, I would have overdid everything, and like it would have taken me like 2 days to do one thing. Now I'm just like, yeah, sure, this content thing, five hours tops, do it, post it, it's done. Before I would have freaked out. I wouldn't have even be like able to post it.
It must be a nice feeling then to feel like you're making that progress and it's just like becoming easier and more streamlined, less stressful.
Well, but that's another thing you get help on. I think the more you talk to people, like you told me this and you're asking me questions and I'm like reflecting on it, and then we discussed and people ask questions, like these things help to grow more than you sitting and like, I'm growing.
Alone, yeah.
Like it can grow.
Oh, have we got a question in the chat as well? What are the main pros and cons you find in not having a client while working on personal projects?
That's a very good question. I think that there's the obvious, like nobody can tell me what to do by myself. And it's quicker, and there's no stakeholders and nobody to like go back and forth with.
No approval process.
Exactly. Which I think it's the only reason why I'm able to go do it so quickly, right? And then I think the cons are not working on with other people. I think my general feeling, and 100% always sure of this, is I do better work and everybody does better work when other people are involved. It does make it more difficult, but it is true. And I do love working with people, like people in this call, and other people I worked with really make you better. So I know that the client is like always sounds so triggering, like the enemy, and they're going to give you some horrible feedback, and they're going to ruin everything for you. But actually, in my experience, especially the further down the road, it's actually been really helpful, because also you as a creator, you learn how to ask for better feedback, you learn how to negotiate this better, you also learn more about the data side of things, of the business side of things. Why they're doing something, and you're not going in and like, oh, I'm just want to do my personal thing, but they just need to do a specific thing. That's why they're asking you. So yeah, I think this is why I will always want to work on commercial projects. This is why I love having a full-time job, and yeah, I will definitely think overall it's always better to have somebody to be accountable to, and then do this on the side and have fun.
It's always really exciting as well when you have a client or someone you're collaborating with and you sort of get on the same page, and then you're both contributing ideas and improving it together, and you get sort of like that energy going. It can feel really, really good.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than that. It's like, I don't know why I keep making parallels with music, but like if you're playing piano by yourself, it's fine, it's fun. But like if you're having a jam session with amazing musicians, that's pretty awesome.
Totally. Yeah. That's a perfect, why music is really has so many parallels to design, I guess, all these creative collaborative things.
Exactly. It's good. It was like a couple of years there I was just using sport metaphors, and I was like, I didn't know anything about sports. Why am I doing this?
Give it to music. I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Does anyone else have any questions that they want to ask Kay in the chat? Leave the floor open for.
Yeah, you can also ask anything.
But otherwise, I'll give people a few more seconds. But thank you so much, Kay. I think you've given us some super valuable advice. All these insights have been amazing. And for this beautiful, beautiful presentation that you've shown us today, we really appreciate you taking the time to sit with us and sharing your knowledge and your work. I know I definitely learned some stuff. So
No, Sophie, I just have one thing to say, and it's thank you, Grace. No, thank you so much. This has been really fun. And yeah, I'm happy that we are in a group of really cool people, and that hopefully this will help somebody else as well. And if anybody ever needs kind of even more in depth, you can always reach me on Instagram. And yeah.
Yes. Does everyone have Kay's Instagram? I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I think everybody does.
Hello, this is Kay, isn't it?
Exactly. Hello, this is Kay. Thank you so much. And thank you, Shada, for preparing all of this. And
Yes,
we missed you.
we did miss you, Shada. Cool. So that brings us to the end of the talk, I guess. So thank you everybody for joining. I hope you all have a nice evening and a great weekend ahead.